Many of us start businesses because we want to make an impact. But how do we really know if we're actually making a difference? Just because we feel passionate about our work doesn't mean it's actually working. Well, today I'm breaking down how to measure your impact effectively without getting lost in the data. And I'll be sharing some of the key metrics that actually matter and the tools that you can use to track them, so you can be sure that your business is creating real change. When I first started out, I made the innocent mistake of making a lot of assumptions about the impact of the work I was doing. I assumed that because people were showing up to the projects I was running, they were working. Well, to an extent, this is probably true, as engagement through attendance can be a pretty big identifier of the success of a project. However, instead of just assuming, what I should have been doing was measuring. Even though I would issue some questionnaires here and there, I can't really say that I could really put a marker on how much impact the projects made in the first few years of being set up. It wasn't until a friend who worked in the sector asked me, "What's the measurable outcome of your work?" that I really started to think about the more in-depth impact we were having. And at that point, I didn't have a solid answer. Since then, I've understood that measuring impact isn't just about numbers, it's actually about proving what you're doing is actually changing lives. So today I'm sharing 3 metrics to help you measure your impact effectively, along with some tools that can help you track them. So quantitative impact measurement, otherwise known as the data-driven approach. Guys, it's true what they say, numbers don't lie, and tracking data helps you see how your work is making a difference. But the key is understanding what to measure here. So a few of the key metrics you can look at are the number of people you've served, the percentage of improvements in the area you're specializing in, for example, education, employment or health, and the reduction in negative outcomes like homelessness or antisocial behavior. In actuality, your metrics are actually just linked to the very thing that brought you into the space in the first place. So for me, for example, as I explained in episode 1, it was about developing young people, which led on to helping them improve their employability opportunities. So in this instance, the outlook would be something like this. Open Lens Media runs an employability and skills development program. So instead of just counting how many people attend, what we have to also look at is how many of those people actually get into work or further training or education after they leave our program. Are they better off after the program than before they started? That's the impact question in a nutshell. So we measure and track all of that data. And internally, we have our own processes and software that we use, but you might just be getting started in this area. So here are some tools that you can use. Google Sheets, Excel are fantastic software for tracking data over time and a great starting point, as you can easily monitor the data you want to capture on a regular basis. Survey tools like Google Forms or Typeform are also great for capturing responses to questionnaires that will also help you quantify the data as they summarize the responses and show you the outcomes to your research. And impact dashboards like Substance Views, fantastic for automating impact reporting. From here, you can just draw down the information you need to report on, so long as you've been updating the system as you go along. It will run off reports and summaries that you can share with your funders or stakeholders in one quick swoop. So those are just a few tools to get started with, but there are many more. The main thing is that you're tracking the data so that you can measure the impact. Qualitative impact measurement, otherwise known as the story behind the data. Numbers are great, but they don't always tell the full story. That's where real voices come in. Personal stories and testimonials give life to the data, so don't underestimate the power of them. One of our favorite ways to capture this type of impact measurement in Open Lens Media are through short videos. And I also always get a really warm feeling when I hear how a young person has stated our programs have helped them. It lets me know that what we've set out to do is working and gives us all that push to keep doing what we do. Try it for yourself. Interview people who have benefited from your work and collect their testimonials and feedback regularly. Try to get in the habit of documenting their before and after stories to show the transformational impact that your work is having. This is not just a great way of knowing you're having an impact, but an excellent way to leverage bringing in more finance, contracts, and investment to your organization, as funders and investors love to know that their money is going towards something that actually works and is making a real difference. Measure your SROI, otherwise known as social return on investment. At the end of the day, funders, investors, and even government agencies want to know, what's the financial return on this social impact? That's where SROI comes in. If you're not familiar with this term or metric, essentially what it is the social version of return on investment. It's about being able to say, for every £1 invested into my organization, we're able to generate X amount of financial value. So let's do some quick maths to give you an example. Stay with me. Let's say one young person unemployed for 1 year cost the government 23k in unemployment benefits. However, it costs £3,000 for one young person who is unemployed to complete a 3-month employability program with us at Open Lens Media. And after that program, they're able to secure a job and sustain employment for the rest of the year. The numbers and outcomes would suggest then that making an investment into Open Lens Media's employment program of £3,000 for the year would actually save the government £20,000 and reduce unemployment in the region. That's a financial and social win. So why not measure your SROI to demonstrate the value in your service, product, or project? You can use a calculator like Impact Management Project, or do the maths yourself if you've got the head for it. Whichever way you go about it, it's a great way to measure your impact and a great way to show that what you're doing is making a difference. So those are my 3 measurement metrics that can help you know if you're making an impact. Remember, if you're not measuring your impact, you're guessing. And when you're running a social enterprise, guessing isn't enough. Whether it's numbers, stories, or financial returns, tracking your impact helps you improve, grow, and secure the funding you need to do even more. Now it's your turn. Pick one of these 3 methods and start tracking your impact this week. And if you found that this episode helpful, tag me on social media and hashtag the social corner and share your biggest takeaway with me. For more on this episode, head over to my website at dainaandersonandpunzi.com and subscribe to download the episode guide. And as usual, don't forget to connect with me on social media. You can find all my social media handles in the bio, and I'll be back in the social corner next week for another social conversation, driving social change.